All right, so welcome back to Environmental Science. We will be talking about 14.2 today. So, again, what factors do influence the size of the human population? We will get into that. So, what we see, very similar to what we talked about before with species and how they grow in population size. Again, it's the same idea with the human population. So what we see is that in order for a population to increase in size, again, you're going to need an increase and more deaths, or not deaths, more births. So the fertility rate and immigration needs to be higher than the death and immigration rate. So again, when we talk about death, that could be also known as mortality rate, and immigration, obviously, people leaving your area, while immigration, people are coming in. And so the total fertility rate, so TFR, that'd be the average number of children born to women of childbearing age in a population. And so key factors in determining population size is the total fertility rate. Just because if you're having more children to a woman bearing age and population, then that population will increase. There are factors that affect birth and fertility rates. So, children as part of the labor force, again, if you think about different areas where children are needed to work, we're not thinking about the Industrial Revolution time where you had ages 10 through 18 working in the factories. No, it's not necessarily that nowadays. Obviously, the government has stepped in and be like, well, children need education. But this idea that even if you work on a farm or live on a farm, let's say, you need to help out with parents. Families might want more children to support the family, bring in an extra income or help out, for example, for the farm. Okay. The cost of raising and educating children is also another factor. It is expensive to raise kids. I believe on average, I could be wrong, but on average, it costs about $250,000 to raise a kid from the ages of when they get born to the age of 18. It's about $250,000. Okay, so that is a big factor when it comes to educating children. There are fewer children needed to support seniors. So again, what we see is that again, children aren't as needed to help support not only the seniors or the family. So again, that will affect the birth and fertility rate. More family planning in urban areas. So if you look at cities like Chicago, Rockford, Beloit, right, there are family planning to decide whether or not you want a kid. Okay, you can decide, well, I want a kid. This is the education that I can get from it, or I don't want a kid. What are the different ways that I can prevent from having a kid? And family planning does allow for that. Access to education and employment outside of the home for women. This is the idea that in the 1950s, the idea was women would stay home, they would be the housewife, do the cleaning, cooking, raise the kids. Nowadays, that's not really the case. We have a different perspective on women where they can and should, if they want to, do whatever they want, right? Get whatever education they need. And so, because of that, what you might see is that a lot of women will choose education first or choose their career first and focus on that. And usually, if you have kids later on in life, you're going to have fewer of them. Again, it's harder to start a family or have kids usually after the age of 30 or 35. And so usually once you got your career going, you're about 28, 29. So again, one or two kids is usually around how much you could get. Or you might just not have kids at all if you're so focused on your career. If you think about jobs like doctors, surgeons, lawyers, they spend 10 plus hours at work per day. So again, they probably don't have the time to raise a family. The average age of marriage has gone up, and usually with marriage, that least idea of starting a family. So again, I believe back in the day, people were getting married around 21, 22, but now the average age, I believe, is at 29. And the availability of reliable birth control does allow for preventative measures of having a kid. It's not only the number of births that have gone up, but it's actually the reduced death rate that's helped a lot. So over the last 100 years, again, we have, as a society, have improved on our nutrition, medicine, and sanitation, right? There's so many procedures, there's so many methods that help us live nowadays, right? And because of that, our life expectancy has increased. If you think about the Middle Ages, the average age or life expectancy was about 35, 40, maybe even 45 years old. Now it's around 80. So again, because of our different practices, we have done better also. Infant mortality rates has also dropped. So less babies are dying before their first birthday. And that's because, again, of the different practices we have. The smarter we are, the better nutrition, a better environment to allow our babies to survive. Okay. Even if they have some pre existing condition or they have some type of disability, we have come up with different methods. Our technology and medicine has helped us so much that a lot of these babies can survive. Immigration. So again, the idea is that with immigration, people are moving in, immigration are moving out. So again, why people would move into a certain area, again, seeking better opportunities, seeking jobs, economic improvement, or they could be fleeing some type of conflict back home, whether it's religious persecution. So again, you're being singled out because of your religion, ethnic conflict. So again, because of your ethnicity, that could be a problem, or even war. That's why we see a lot of people move out of an area because of these three different things. And that's because they want to move to a new area. They want to seek better opportunity, better living environment. So environmental refugees are a good example because they will move out of an area because of war or because of famine. So not enough food, drought, not enough water, soil erosion. Again, can't grow anything there, or other environmental degradation. Essentially, what's that saying is their area isn't good enough. Their area is not supporting their lifestyle, so they got to move to an area that is. And again, the United States is one of many countries that provides opportunities for not only refugees, but anybody that wants to move into and immigrate into the country. The age structure diagram is going to show us essentially our future as a country, let's say, right? Different countries are going to have different age structures. How the age structure diagram works is that on one side you have males, on the other side you have females, and then there's the specific age categories. Again, it ranges from 0 to 100 plus, and again, it details essentially where we are at each group. Okay, so if you look at two different examples of an age structure diagram with the more developed countries, what we see is that it's more stable. Again, there's not really a group that stands out. So again, what you're seeing is your population stable. It'll increase over time at a slower rate. But then we look at less developed countries, what we see is that they're younger. And usually with younger people, they want to have more kids. And so you're going to see that this population is going to rapidly grow. Ways to slow growth, reducing poverty. So again, there's less need for kids to provide for the family. So you reduce poverty. Again, you provide better education, better housing, better opportunities, and they may, as people, focus on their careers more than maybe starting a family, right? Empowerment of women. Again, we kind of talked about that fact before about, women kind of choosing what they want to do. Again, nowadays, not the expectation that every woman needs to become a mother or become that housewife, but instead they can choose what they want to do. And again, with the availability of family planning, this helps with people deciding whether they want a kid, whether they not have a kid. Again, be educated, provide the right resources for either having a family, providing a family, whatever the case may be. All right. And so, if we look at different aging populations, the United States is more balanced. What we see is that Japan has the highest percent of people over 65, right? And usually, if you have a higher population at 65, the population will decline. Again, you have more older people. Again, Japan might see an economic problem because with everybody retiring, again, you retire around the age of 65. Usually, it's around 62, 63 in the United States. Fewer adults are working and paying taxes, right? So economically, that's not as great. Younger people have to support the increasing population of those over 65, and again, that could cause for some economic difficulties. Right now in the United States, what we're going to see over the next 10 years is a lot of baby boomers retiring, and again, baby boomers do make up the majority of the population for the United States. Now, by majority, I'm not saying over 50, but again, they do have a large population. So with all of them retiring, this is your opportunity, right? If you want to be a nurse, there's plenty of nursing jobs out there. If you want to go into the trades, there's plenty of trade jobs out there. Again, they both pay good money and there's a lot of opportunity out there for you. So again, what you know about your population and how old it is, that'll help you not only discover the future, but can also figure out your future as well. All right. That is the end of 14.2. We will continue on with 14.2.